Peter Harder asks why it took so long to invoke the Emergency Act. Cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is a matter of subject, and Freeland couldn't wait to invoke the Emergencies Act in order to, as she says, find a permanent solution for Fintrac because this legislation had fallen behind. Peter also wants to know if there was any money laundering through crypto. Here's the clip.
Harder.
Chair, and thank you, Minister, for being here. It's also helpful for you to be here in person. I thank you for that. I'm, as you know, a senator from Ontario, resident in Ottawa. So it wouldn't surprise you that I would ask you, why did it take you so long to come to the conclusion that this measure was necessary, given the impact on the border, given the reputational impact, and given the very real impact in business in Ottawa?
Senator Harder, it's a great question. And you know, I know that this is sort of an adversarial environment, but I'm going to be very candid. It was an agonizing time, I think, for many Canadians, and it was an agonizing time for everyone in government because we had to balance some serious things against each other. We did not invoke the Emergencies Act lightly. That's why it took some time, because we would very much have preferred a situation where it was not necessary. I think every Canadian would prefer a government which would prefer not to have to invoke the Emergencies Act.
Let me ask a follow-up. You and the government come to the view that police action, as it was at the time, was failing in coming to terms with the occupations, either at the border or in Ottawa itself?
I think you have even senators in this group who have greater expertise in policing than I do. But what I will say is, again, speaking now as Minister of Finance, I had Canadian business leaders in touch with me really constantly, in touch with my officials, in touch with my political colleagues. They were gravely concerned. They shared with me the views of their clients and investors in quite vivid terms. And these were not people who hyperventilate. These were people who could really see every day their businesses being eroded and therefore the national economy. And I also took very seriously, Senator Harder, the points of view expressed both in conversation with us by our American partners and also public statements by American politicians who have wanted to have an excuse to impose protectionist measures on Canada. And these blockades and this illegal occupation was the perfect event designed to make it easier for American protectionists to close their market to us.
Thank you. I'd like to ask you about the funding of the occupation of the convoy. What evidence, if any, do you have with respect to cryptocurrencies being involved? And was there, in your view, any worry of illegal cryptocurrencies supporting this, what ultimately became an illegal convoy and illegal occupation?
Okay, so as I said in my opening remarks, the RCMP reported on February 19th that they had shared 170 Bitcoin addresses with virtual currency exchangers. In general, though, let me say two things. The first is my primary concern about the illegal blockade and occupation was the economic impact, what we could actually see with our eyes, frankly. But as it unfolded and as we took action, it did become clear to me that some Canadian legislation had fallen behind the development of the financial sector. And that's why we have actually put forward permanently some new authorities for Fintrac to monitor this now not so new financial space.
Do you have any evidence of money laundering through cryptocurrencies?
I am not going to speak to that, but I think that's a question really for the RCMP.
Do I have time for another question?
You have 15 seconds.
Well, let me simply say thank you for being here.
Thank you. We'll move.